Hello everyone, my name is Ayat, I'm a dietitian, and today we're going to talk about how to become a dietitian, the difference between a nutritionist and a dietitian, and so much more. I'm also sharing resources in the description below, so make sure to check those out. So let's start by taking it way back to 8th grade, where I knew I loved nutrition and how nutrition impacted our body. It was all because of this health class. I still remember where I was sitting in class, what the teacher looked like. It was such a weird moment where it kind of hit me that, wow, I didn't know food impacts our health in this way, and that's how I just became so interested. I would read books and magazines and whatever I can get my hands on to learn more about nutrition and how it impacts our body. So I was in America until I was 16 years old, and at 16 we moved overseas to Bahrain, which is a teeny tiny beautiful country. So after graduating high school in Bahrain, I went into university there. Because it's such a tiny country, there aren't that many career paths one can choose, or where to study, different things you can study in Bahrain is what I'm trying to say. It was mainly either business or engineering, and because my dad is an engineer, I decided to do engineering as well. When I tell you I have never been so uninterested in a topic before, it was so hard. I did good for the most part. I remember physics, I could not for the life of me understand physics. So after I graduated high school, my family actually moved back to Lebanon, where we're originally from. And when they moved back to Lebanon, I stayed in Bahrain to continue engineering. Since I was already in university, I didn't want to move again. So I stayed there for the 2 years. After those 2 years, when I say 2 years, I stayed there for 2 years because at the 2-year mark, there was some civil unrest. There was something happening in the country, and my parents called me up. They're like, hey, probably not safe there right now. We are worried about you. Come move back to Lebanon with us. So I moved to Lebanon at the 2-year mark, and then I was like, you know what? Since I've already moved countries, let me start all over again. Lebanon has more career choices, more options when it comes to studying. So I ended up doing nutrition. So I found a nutrition program. I did nutrition, graduated with my bachelor's in nutrition and dietetics, which is my first bachelor's degree. And I really thought I was going to stay in Lebanon, open a weight loss clinic. I just had this whole plan in my head of what I was going to do. And then here comes my husband. And then I meet my husband, who changed my entire plan. I ended up moving back to America, where he lives. He is also Lebanese, but he lives in America. So I ended up getting married, moved back to America with him. So when I moved back to America with him, I knew that I wanted to continue my education and become a dietitian, because you're not a dietitian when you graduate. So that's something you need to know. So when I moved back to America, I wanted to continue my education, get my credentials. So I looked it up, and you had to have graduated from an Ascend accredited university in order to get into an internship and to sit for an RD exam. So Ascend stands for Accreditation Council for Education in Nutrition and Dietetics. And again, in order to get your RD credentials, you have to have graduated from an Ascend accredited university. So that was like, oh my gosh, the university I graduated from in Lebanon is not that. So I had to go back to school, got my second bachelor's degree in nutrition and dietetics, and in order to continue. So I get my degree in nutrition and dietetics in America, and the last year or so, well, during your 4 years of college here, if you're going into dietetics, you really have to amp up your resume, because the application process to get into an internship is so rigorous and so competitive. What you're doing during those 4 years of studying is you're doing as much volunteer work, as much work as possible in the healthcare field, whatever you can get your hands on, in order to amp up your resume or your application, so that way when you send it in, you're competitive. Because one thing about dietitians is we're all type A, we're all hardworking students, because we know that the internship process gets filtered. Imagine you have a huge pool of students, and only a certain amount gets filtered down and becomes a dietitian. So my last year of schooling, I get pregnant. I give birth to my firstborn, Amir. And so what happens is, I knew that in order to get an internship, it has to be close by. Because you have to remember, because it's so competitive, students are applying all over America trying to get matched to an internship program. I did not have that flexibility to be able to just pick up and go somewhere, because that internship is 1,200 hours of full-time work. It's 1,200 hours unpaid work. That's number one. It's unpaid internship, and it's a full-time, you're working full-time, not paid. So it's very difficult. So I personally could not leave because I had just had my baby. So I had 2 internship programs near me. One was a university that I had just attended, and I don't think I applied to that one. I have no idea why I did not apply to the internship. I cannot remember why I never applied to this one. The second internship program was an hour away. It was a hybrid program, so you're getting your internship and your master's degree in one, and it's a 2-year program full-time. And that is step 3 of dietetics program. So the first one is you have to have graduated from an Ascend accredited university. The second step is you apply to an internship, and starting 2024, which is this year, you have to have graduated with a master's degree in order to sit for an RD exam and get your credentials. After you apply to an internship program, you wait for your response, whether you're matched or not to an internship. And it's such a stressful time because everyone is getting those results back, like their answers back in the same month. After you apply to an internship program, people are just waiting around. I think there's a month where people just wait around to find out if they got matched or not. It is such a stressful time to know if you're matched, if you got matched, or you have to try again. There are only 2 times a year, I believe, where you can apply to a dietetics internship. It's very, very stressful. So in the internship, you're doing food service, you're doing clinical, which is like hospital work, you're doing community nutrition. So there's just so many different aspects of nutrition that we go into, we try out, we get our hours done. It's 1,200 hours of supervised internship hours that you have to complete in order to be able to sit for the RD exam. And for those that don't know, the undergrad and grad school for nutrition and dietetics is very science heavy. So you're taking organic chemistry, biochemistry, psychology, biology, medical nutrition therapy, physiology. So there's a lot of science, like heavy classes that you have to take in order to become a dietitian. So as I'm doing my internship program, I realized that I actually might not be liking dietetics. And I'm like, oh my gosh, am I in the wrong field? It is not what I expected it to be. I was just so disappointed and so heartbroken that I went through so much schooling and so many hours and so much money to do something that I might not be loving. And it is such a scary place to be in because you feel like you're stuck and you cannot go back and you can't redo. So you have to push through. I pushed through. I finished my master's in nutrition and dietetics. I finished my internship. I graduated with a 4.0, as I have throughout my entire school years. Like even in Lebanon, every degree I've ever gotten is probably I'm a child of immigrant parents, so that's probably what it is. I graduate with my master's degree, and then I get pregnant with my second child, which was fine because after you graduate and after you finish your internship, you have to sit there and study your butt off for the exam. So I finished my schooling, I take my RD exam, pass my RD exam, have Alice, and I'm like, okay, this was right before starting making content. I was like, okay, what do I do now? So I was thinking about working, but then you're looking at the salary and it's like, putting 2 kids in daycare is going to cost as much as my salary. So you're taking that money and you're putting it right into daycare. So no, I would rather sit at home with my kids than give that money to a daycare. And listen, I understand the privilege of even being able to say that and like being able to sit at home with my kids. I completely understand that and I am so grateful for it. So I said, you know what, let me still do something. Let me put something out there. Let me teach. And that was what started everything. I started on Instagram. I love making content. I love creating videos. I just love it so much. And honestly, if you feel like this one path is not for you, if there's something like not working out for you, keep moving forward because you will fall into where you're supposed to be. So, if I had stopped doing my internship, if I had stopped doing my master's degree because I was like, this is not what I thought it would be, I would not be here. I would not be a dietitian on social media. So just all the things that happen to me, you end up being where you're supposed to be. Keep taking those small steps, even though they feel a little bit scary or you're just not sure. Keep taking those steps because I really believe that it opens up for you and it becomes so clear as to what you're supposed to be doing. After you pass your exam and you become an RD, there is a continuing education that you have to do in order to maintain those credentials. So to recap, there are 5 or 6 steps to becoming a dietitian. Number 1, you graduate with in an Ascend accredited university. You apply to internships. You get your master's degree. Starting this year, you have to have a master's degree. You sit for the exam, and then you do continuing education. So 5 steps. Let's talk about the difference between a nutritionist and a dietitian. First up, you have the training and education. We go through training and education that is regulated by the government. There's a code of ethics in place. And of course, we have all that background in nutrition and dietetics. We're studying that throughout our entire years to becoming a dietitian. You're doing a lot of training, you're doing a lot of volunteering, working, everything that you can is in the nutrition field. Whereas to become a nutritionist, you might not have any background in nutrition. You might have graduated with something completely different and then you become a nutritionist, Also, I think nutritionists, you're able to do an online program that you can, you become a nutritionist. Really, honestly, anyone can become a nutritionist if you really wanted to. And again, it's not to discredit any nutritionists out there. I know that there are some who absolutely study so hard and they go through so much becoming a nutritionist and they know their stuff. Whereas others might not have science and the appropriate knowledge in order to give certain, what is the word I'm looking for? Advice. Another main difference between dietitians and nutritionists is scope of practice. So dietitians are able to work in hospitals, in the ICU, the oncology, renal. We are very much specialized because we can specialize even further to become, if you really are interested in one area, you become specialized in the area. Whereas, of course, nutritionists are not able to work in the hospitals. We just go through so much more extensive nutrition education and preventing and managing different health conditions and diseases. Somebody asked me if it was worth going through all that. Absolutely, it was worth it. It was 100% worth it. It was very, very, very difficult. But we made it through. We are on the other side now. I am creating content. This is my full-time job. I love what I do. I literally wake up every single day and I'm so grateful, and I'm so grateful for you guys. So yes, no, definitely no regrets. I definitely would have regretted if I had not gone through it. And I'm just, kind of, you feel kind of lost sometimes, like when you're kind of going through it. When I was still in my internship, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing with my life? My kids were home with grandparents, whether it was my mom or my mother-in-law. They were helping with the kids while I'm out there studying or doing my internship or whatever it was. You definitely need help with kids. So there were times where I was like, is this even worth it? Am I even doing the right thing for my family, for myself? And yes, I was. If you know that you love this field and you love what you're studying, and maybe the work is not what you expected it to be, or your internship is not what you expected it to be, there are different paths you can take. There are different ways you can find something that you love doing in that field. I hope this helped someone. I hope I helped answer your questions. Of course, if you have any more questions, feel free to either send me a message or write them in the comments below. And thank you so much. I am so grateful for each and every single one of you. And if you like this video and this video is helpful for you, make sure to like and subscribe.